Hello everyone and welcome to another cosplay Q&A with me, Iron Warrior Cosplay. How are we all doing in the chat? I can see that we've got a bunch of people in chat today. I hope you're all doing well. My cosplay guest today is actually a very good friend of mine. We've known each other for some time. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the lovely Ginger Nutz Cosplay. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Managed to wangle a day off work for this, so all good.
You see, the man's got dedication. He's got himself a day off to get on Iron Warrior Cosplay's Q&A.
Yeah.
I like it. That makes me very good. As you can see, we're live. Absolutely love it. We've got your links in chat. So if you want to follow Ginger Nutz Cosplay on Facebook and Instagram, his links are there. And we are ready to rock and roll. So, let's see. Right, okay, so I have got, as you know, a list of questions on my Ghostbusters clipboard that I ask every single cosplayer who jumps on. And the first question I ask is, how long have you been cosplaying, Mr. Will?
I'd say about 6-7 years.
6 or 7 years, so you've been cosplaying a fair chunk then? Like you've been cosplaying
I have been, yeah. It's been about 6 or 7 years since I sort of took the first tentative steps into it.
Well, were they quite shaky, like newly born lamb kind of steps into cosplay, or?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it started off when one of my sort of ex-girlfriends, she was an actress and whatnot.
One of many by the sounds of things, eh? You're like one of.
Wish.
Let me just get my list out.
One of a few.
Which ex-girlfriend was it? I can't quite tell.
No, she was an actress and got a bit part in a sort of mid-level sort of sci-fi project that's currently hit a bit of a speed bump. Asked me if I wanted to sort of come and have a day, sort of mooching around set, see what was going on.
Absolutely.
Just got chatting to the director, and he kind of just was like, "We're a man short. Can you go and stand over there?" And when I say action, walk to there and then pretend you're being shot. So did a little bit of did a bit of that, and then from there, sort of started helping out a little bit on set with making props, sort of helping with costume and stuff, and then started looking into it, found cosplay, and yeah, here I am.
How well did you get shot?
If it ever gets released, you will find out.
Was it ultimately the most like the really long drawn out like, or was it full on just done like?
Pretty much a sort of bullet through the face, done kind of.
I like that. We've got a few people in chat saying they're loving your Jurassic Park T-shirt. I know Harry's a big Jurassic Park fan. So is Dragonheart. She loves Jurassic Park.
Yeah, my soon-to-be wife is very much a big fan of Jurassic Park.
Very much a big fan of Jurassic Park. I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that. So, Ginger Nutz Cosplay. Why do you cosplay? I like that. Ginger Nutz Cosplay. Why do you cosplay? That's a.
Why do I cosplay?
Why do you cosplay?
It's sort of just kind of out of almost a kind of want to sort of express myself in an artistic way that isn't painting on canvas, and it's just wanting to kind of embody the characters that you see on screen that you kind of identify with, and it's kind of going, I like this person. I want to see what it's like to be them for an hour or two or whatever, or for a day whilst you're at a convention, and that's kind of sort of where it came from. And again, it all goes back to doing the acting and things. Yeah.
So you've got a good decent list of all the different genres. I know you do Doctor Who style cosplays. You do. You've got your Gears of War Lancer in the background there. Do you do a?
Yes, I have, just behind me there.
Do you do a full-on Gears of War cosplay at all?
It's in the works.
I've got the. I know you do. I've got the your Warhammer. You do Warhammer cosplay stuff Warhammer. Like that. You've got a nice, hefty, quite a chunky list of like sort of different genres and stuff. I mean, it's the same here. Like I do, like I've got my steampunks, different characters, then I got my Ghostbuster, and then I got the Iron Warrior and stuff. So it's nice to have a good mix. But would you say would you say your Warhammer sort of base cosplay is your sort of main one? Would you say?
I'd say at the minute that was my main one. I sort of first started out doing post-APOC stuff, Fallout, that kind of area. My first proper cosplay I did, actually, was a Fallout version of Finn from Adventure Time.
Oh, from Adventure Time. That's cool.
Yeah.
Any
So
pictures of that on your Instagram, if anyone,
there
wants to
should
go and
be
have a look?
one or two. I know there's some on my Facebook. I think further down my Instagram, there's definitely got to be one or two in there.
I kind of like that post-apocalyptic Finn from Adventure Time.
And if I just scooch my chair this way, the golden sword there behind me.
A bigger sword. That is a nice big sword. What sort of size is that?
I think it's about 4 feet long from pommel to tip.
That's quite a good sword.
It's
fair play.
huge.
I mean, you've got multiple swords there. I guess you got another one next to it.
That is my chainsaw for my Imperial Guardsman that I'm. In the middle of,
that was the one you were modifying,
upgrading.
isn't it? You're modifying.
Yeah. I've got to. I've still got to sort of shape the teeth for it at the minute, and then build the engine block. So no, but yeah, the Finn sword is ridiculous. I can't believe I built it that big.
that is quite ridiculous. That is quite ridiculous. I do like it.
It is a stupidly comically sized sword. But I did get it autographed by Hannah Spirit from S Club 7, so...
That's an interesting signature to get on a sword. That is quite an interesting one.
Yeah, she was at Birmingham Comic-Con one year, because I think Andrew Lee Potts from Primeval was there. So she was there as well as sort of an extra guest for that. And, so I thought, I'll go along, say hi, maybe get a picture with her. And she autographed the sword as well. So that was 2016, I think it was.
Yes, the days before the plague. The
days before the plague.
Yeah, I have made it my goal now when the conventions start back up, and let's say if social distancing gets sort of taken down a bit and we can actually like meet up and stuff, it'd be nice to meet up with people and just say, I haven't seen you since the plague, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just sort of chill it out a little bit. That'd be kind of cool. So, is cosplay something you see yourself doing in 10 years now that you're sort of becoming a married man?
I hope so. And obviously cosplay and stuff is a brilliant excuse for sort of eventually when, as and when and if I have kids, it's going to be like, we're going to have the best Halloween costumes and best kind of fancy dress costumes for parties and stuff.
But if you get some little ones running around, you could always make some cosplays for them.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I know a lot of my friends are now having kids and stuff as well. So and they're all getting into the age of kind of like wanting to play dress up and whatnot. So sort of being occasionally called upon for little bits and pieces for that. That's quite nice as well.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. So we have my mods in chat, just so you know. Obviously, Dragonheart's currently on her way home, but Ranger of Krieg is currently posting links into the chat for you. He's also found specific links to your post-apocalyptic Adventure Time cosplay, so he's actually posting those in chat.
Cool, okay.
He's probably sat at his computer now with his two monitors just going like that with like loads of code and text and stuff.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to building, just the building side of things, right? Is that something you prefer to do alone, or would you prefer to do that with others as a group, or are you more like a Lone Ranger kind of guy?
I think just because in sort of my immediate sort of circle of friends, I'm the only one that is kind of into this sort of stuff. I tend to do a lot of building on my own. It's interesting being out in the back garden, sort of either building stuff or doing a bit of painting, and you get the occasional neighbour sort of staring out of the bedroom window going, what's he doing?
Hello, Gordon.
Walk out with a big 4-foot sword.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Artemis Blackfire, for the host there. I'm being hosted by two people now. Lynette Cosplay and Artemis Blackfire are hosting us. We've got plenty of viewers coming in, and I'm loving this. But have you ever scared any of your neighbours with any of the props that you've done?
I wouldn't say. I don't know if I've scared them with any of the props I've done. Where I used to live before, I used to live in a sort of little flat. There was about 5 or 6 in the building, and there was a kind of communal garden area out back. And I was just doing a couple of test photos down at the very end of that garden, in amongst the trees for my Imperial Guardsmen. And the new girl that had moved into the downstairs flat came to put some rubbish in the bins. And she walked out of the back door, stopped, stared at me, turned around and went back inside.
I wouldn't blame her, to be honest, because if I had no idea, like if I had no idea, I would just be like, I'd be like that Homer Simpson gif when he just slowly walks back into the hedge.
Back into the hedge,
you know. So, if you had to pick out of all the cosplays that you've done, what's your favourite cosplay? Even if you don't own it or wear it anymore, if that's your favourite one, then pick it. But what is your favourite cosplay?
Ooh, that is a tough one, because they've all kind of been good, because it's just these sort of, you build it up from scratch and you sort of take an idea, but I think the one that's kind of got the widest reception and actually had people appreciate it most might have to be my Doctor Who one.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
As me as a Doctor,
because are you your own Doctor or are you a specific Doctor?
I'm my own one.
Yeah, I know a fair few people who have their own version of if they were the Doctor, or they create a character of their own, and they sort of.
And I sort of drew inspiration from sort of past Doctors with sort of the big trench coat, the waistcoat, the shirt, and just tried to kind of combine them all into one. When I originally designed it, I had a white shirt with it, but the white one didn't quite work. So I found a red shirt that I used to wear when I worked in an Argos store. Just sat at the back of the wardrobe, and tried that with it, and just all of a sudden that single pop of colour against a kind of very monochrome background, just boom, and posted it up on a Doctor Who cosplay page, and everyone loved it. In fact, a couple of people were going, "I'm calling the BBC now."
See, I like that, especially when you say with like the adding that little bit of color. It's why I did it's why I did the Power Fist on the Space Marine in red.
Yeah,
it's because I just wanted to add that bit of that
just little, add that pop to it.
Yeah, exactly. So, what is to date, like up from when you started till 2020? What's the most expensive cosplay? The actual whole cosplay that you have built. What's the most expensive one that you've done so far? Which one would you say is like the one that's cost you the most buck?
I'd have said maybe it might be the Doctor, actually.
Oh, really? Now, see, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, from sort of because I try and do everything on a budget if I can. The one for my Doctor, because I bought sort of a few bits and pieces for something else. So the boots for my Doctor are reproduction US World War II US Army paratrooper boots, and they were about 50 quid. But buying the genuine ones, even second hand, you were looking 150, 200.
Yeah. Even if they're second hand, they're still they're dear as anything, aren't they?
Yeah. So it was about 50 for the boots. The trousers for my Doctor are, again, World War II US paratrooper trousers. They were about 35, 40, and the trench coat was about 70.
Oh, so that's quite a I can see what you mean, because I wasn't half expecting you to say it was going to be one of your Warhammer cosplays, if anything, but because I know you have recently. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if you've actually received it yet. It was your you've chainsword, isn't it? You've got chainsword on the way.
Lasgun.
Sorry.
Yes.
I know that because it's really funny. I've 3 friends of mine from all over who have ordered different weaponry that are. Yeah. It's the laser burn, isn't it? Like laser, they use a laser to cut it all up. One's got a chainsword, one's got a lasgun, which is yours, and then obviously one's got a One's got a a power sword, if you will, like a small, sort of smaller one. And I keep forgetting who had what because there's 3 of them. And I think I'm not sure if they're from the same company, mind you. I'm not sure.
They may, if they're the wooden ones, probably. Yeah. I mean, I'm still waiting for it to ship. He messaged him and he said it should be out by the end of this week. So.
Oh, nice.
But it's coming from Russia, so it could be here by Christmas.
Yeah, don't even. I've got 3 things coming from Russia, and they've been on their way for a good 2 months now. So I'm gonna have to start messaging and demanding. We have got a question. Obviously now. For those of you in the chat and don't know, Will, Ginger Nutz Cosplay, he actually does Warhammer cosplays, but we have got a question for you saying, if you could make a Warhammer cosplay, a Warhammer 40k cosplay, what would it be? But I think what I'll do is, because you already do a Warhammer cosplay, I could add if you could make any Warhammer cosplay, what would it be? Because that would be, because obviously you already do a Warhammer-based cosplay, so we kind of know, if you could pick any like cosplay in the Warhammer 40k universe, what would you pick?
That is a good question. I mean, I've got a couple in mind. I mean, I've had one on the back burner in the sketchbook of Doom, in amongst all this stuff behind me, for about 4 years, and that would be a very retro Lucius Patton Warlord Titan.
Oh, see, I like that. So you would do that as a cosplay?
Yes.
Stats. Are you talking? What's the scale we talking? Will you say like full on?
I mean, we're looking about. I mean, I'm 5'10", so to do it any kind of justice for how sort of chunky the thing is, I'd have to be pushing sort of looking about minimum 6'6".
Yeah, that would be a good size.
6.5 feet.
I like that. 6.5 feet is.
Yeah, it'd be about the scale we're looking for. Yeah. Just because of how boxy the thing is.
There's that guy who's built. He was on 40k cosplay. He's built a Warlord Titan.
Yeah, who's done the more modern Warlords.
That is. I mean, obviously, it's not as big as what you said yours is going to be, but it's still impressive. Is what I like. Yeah. It's still impressive because it's still, But so if you could pick any Warhammer cosplay, you'd say you'd pick that one.
Yeah, but for just sort of more scaled to me and being a little easier to do, I might have to say, Lord Macarius.
Ah, see, that's an interesting one. So money being no option, you'd go for one of those.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah. That's quite a good one. See, I like that. I like that. That's quite good.
The Lord Macarius want to be slightly cheaper than the Warlord.
Maybe a little bit.
just a touch. Yeah.
Also, you'd probably need to take an entire room up just to store it.
I'd have to get rid of everything behind me to fit the Warlord in. Yeah.
We have a question here again from Caxor asking, good or evil, and why?
In what context?
There is no context, but I'm guessing since he's a Warhammer cosplayer, I'm thinking maybe loyalist or chaos, maybe. It's good and bad, but as good as loyalists can be. I'm just saying.
I mean, in the 40k universe, who are the good guys?
Well, it ain't me. I know that much. Well, it ain't me. I can assure you.
I'd say the Imperium is skirting the line between.
Honestly,
good and evil.
I'm currently going through the first wall, and they've just executed 400 Imperial Guard on the train on the way to battle, and that's just just them bang, okay. Because
it's Stalin's Russia.
It's well done. That's clearly a good thing. I like that. But
so, I'd probably say I'd side with the Imperium.
You would? Yeah, I was.
From a 40k standpoint, it'd be the Imperium.
There you go. I was going to say. So you'd go for the loyalist scum side of things.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just me. I'm chaos all the way. They're more fun. They're more fun. It's just there's something about. I mean, like Blood for the Blood God, like Korn, for example. What a great chapter. Like, well, I said chapter. What a great god, like Chaos God. Like, they're just the World Eaters. Just they're so cool. They're just really, really awesome. And then you just look and it's just like, and there's the Imperial Guard. There's that really funny video of a bunch of Tyranids in the background, and it's an Imperial Guard soldier looking at the camera, and it says, "Look at the glazed look in his eye. Read the badge that says, 'I really wish I weren't here right now,' button." It's like, I tell you. So, all the events that you've done, that's including the legendary Warhammer Fest, what's your favorite convention? Which con would you say you could go to every year, all the time, every time, and enjoy it?
I mean, Warhammer Fest aside, this year kind of sucked that nothing's happening.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, missing you guys at Warhammer Fest is like a big, like, that was a proper downer for me, because, like, I love Warhammer Fest. I mean, do you remember last year with the video that Dave did? Oh, man, it was so cool, man. It was so cool.
I am still, from Warhammer Fest, the bit where Dave and his Rogel Dawn, Mark and Ben in the lift with him, and the doors open and people are waiting to get in, and it's just full of Dave.
It's exactly how it happens with me and Harry, except I tried to stand in front of Harry, and Harry will just stand there, but Harry, fair play to him, puts his mask on and puts his commissar hat back on and just waits there with his gun, and then the doors open and people just crap themselves.
Yeah.
It's the best. Oh, it is absolutely amazing.
But no, I think the one con that I could go back to year on year is Birmingham MCM.
Oh, Birmingham MCM, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
Birmingham
not been to
MCM.
the Birmingham one, but I've been to the London one.
I've only been to one con in London, and that was London's Super Comic Con when it was at the XL.
Oh, yeah. I remember, yeah. I was so confused there for a second. I was just like, wait, what con was that? And I remember then, because it was there, wasn't it? But they
it was at the XL, but they've moved it, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, in fact, that was my first con, actually.
Oh, your first con ever? Because that's one of the questions I have here. Yeah. What was the first ever convention that you've ever done?
Yeah, the first ever was London Super Comic Con at the XL. And me and the other half were staying with her brother and his other half, and they lived in Canary Wharf.
Oh, wow.
And at the time they lived in Canary Wharf, and there was nothing funnier than watching people nearly walk into the docks, just like dropping off the edge of the docks, staring at me walking through Canary Wharf in my post-APOC Finn get-up, just sort of meandering through, and people are just veering off almost into the water.
I love that. That's fantastic. When people gawk at you, like, and then they're like walking to a post or something, it's so funny. It is so funny. Ranger Creek was just saying in chat now, I like scaring people, and it's like, scaring people is like one of the like guilty pleasures, if you will, at a convention. Like, it's just to scare some people.
I think it was the second time I wore Finn, and it was to Birmingham, actually, and it was when I lived in Stoke. And I'm stood on Stoke Station's platform waiting for the train, and I've got sort of battle-scarred face, so I've got like scars on and black eye and stuff. And a woman comes over to me and asks me if I'm all right, and do I need someone to call an ambulance, because she was 100% convinced that I'd been beaten up.
You'd had 7 tons of shit beaten out of you, like.
Yeah, for dressing like a moron. But yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, it is a good laugh. Like when like, this is a funny one, when people come up to me at a convention like, can I touch you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And they press the suit and they realize it's foam, and they just suddenly they go from being a bit worried, and then they realize it's foam, and they're just like, oh, it's foam. And it's like, yes, it's foam. Do you really think I could walk around if this was made of metal? Like, really? Like, how strong do you think I am? Obviously they don't know me, but it's still funny.
No. No,
So if
but
you had
it
to,
would be.
if you had to explain to the nice people in chat what your favorite part of cosplay is, what would you say your absolute favorite part of cosplay is?
I think I don't know if I can sort of answer it sort of straight. It again has to come. I think my favorite part of cosplay is sort of embodied in a moment that happened at the. I think was it last November or last? No, it wasn't November. It was March. Birmingham Comic-Con, and my other half. I'd managed to get my other half to cosplay with me, and we did Owen Grady and Claire Dearing from Jurassic World, the first one. And I did Owen Grady, and we're sort of just walking through the convention hall, and Dad's coming the opposite way with his kid who's about 5, and his kid clocks me and my other half and just stops dead in the middle of the path. Lets go of his dad's hand, and he's just stood there open-mouthed as we're sort of walking towards him. And Dad looks back, sees son, sees me, sees son, sees me, goes back to his son, and by now we're kind of within a couple of paces of him, and he goes, "Do you want your photo taken with Owen and Claire?" And he starts jumping up and down and sort of shaking about, and that, I think, is my favourite part of cosplay, is getting the reactions from people when you have those moments of suddenly these characters that they've known for years and know really well are stood in front of them, and they can't hide their excitement about it. Yeah. It's that sort of, oh my God, it's that person!
You see, that's the kind of reaction that you get in yours, and then mine are just of kids screaming and crying and running away and hiding and being terrified usually. Except when I'm my Ghostbuster. That's when what you just said happens when
when the kids sort of just get really excited about it.
But obviously we always do the good side. But the next question I always ask is, what is your least favourite part of cosplay? Now, I've had many really good answers to this one, so I'd love to know, sort of, from your experience personally, what your least favourite part of cosplay as a whole is.
Least favourite part of cosplay? I think, for me, it's sort of from sort of the wider society who don't really kind of buy into geek culture, nerd culture, and they see you doing this, and I see it in comment sections on news articles a lot, when there's been like MCM in London or other big cons, and the comment section is just full of comments of nerds, it's just dressing up, they're sad,
these weirdos and that kind of stuff.
They're just weird. And you just look at it. You just sort of look at the comments and go, "I know personally that that's not how it is, and we're all lovely people, and there could be people that these people work with that do it, that don't tell them, because that's how they react to these news stories and things." And cosplay is just another creative outlet. People have football, people have other sports, motor racing, people like the art of Van Gogh. We have making costumes, and making props, and painting that way, and building and creating in those kind of, and some people don't. Well, it's not that they don't get it. They choose to kind of be a bit dickish about it because they don't understand it. And if they just took like 2 minutes to go, actually, that's really good, or, oh, I understand why they're doing that, then, I kind of feel like maybe that would get less, but because it's coming from grown adults that should know better, it kind of takes the shine off the penny some days.
Yeah, it does. It really tarnishes it, if anything. It just makes it a bit duller. Yeah. But what I love about it is, as the chat has been going off right now, saying like Ginger Nuts, people will always spread the hate. It's too easy, or too easy to make fun of people who don't understand and don't know how to. And also like people saying like I feel sorry for those people. And it's like and yeah, it's completely understand because you sort of have to make sure that people understand it is just fun in the end. Like I know a few people who do take it a bit too seriously, if you will, but there's always a limit to everything. There's always a limit to everything. But speaking of like sort of your favorite part and your least favorite part of cosplay and everything, as a general thing then, in the community with the whole positive and negative side of things, how do you view yourself as a cosplayer? Like,
I sort of view myself as I'd like to think that I was one of the good ones. Not in terms of skill or whatever, because I just do this for a hobby. I don't sort of go super hardcore into it where I have to be, where everything must be 100% accurate all the time. And people that do that, absolutely no issue with that. I know a couple of guys who are very much it has to look 100% screen accurate. Because they do it on a competitive level. I'm just a hobby cosplayer, really. As long as it looks like it should in either the pictures or whatever, as long as it's close, and I think that's the same for a lot of people.
Near as damn it.
Near as damn it.
Near as damn it.
Okay, it might not be exactly right, but everyone can look at it and go, I recognise that immediately. It's like when I did Barney Calhoun from Half-Life in his security guard get-up. I did, yeah. The body armour I had from that, I sort of bought from Amazon, I think, a couple of years ago, never did anything with it. And then it was just like, do you know what? That'd be great for Barney, because it sort of looks close to the armour he wears in the game, and it was just a case of... I'll use that, and people immediately recognised who it was. And they didn't say anything like, ooh, the armour's not accurate or whatever. They were just like, that's brilliant. That's actually really good. So, yeah, for me, I sort of like to think that I'm, on the whole, a good cosplayer in terms of the stuff I can... Yeah. The stuff that I can churn out and the stuff that I do. I mean, I'd like to get a little bit better and learn a few more skills, but that kind of just comes with time and doing. Exactly. And the more you do it, the more you learn. Like
I wouldn't be where I am now if I hadn't have started on the path that I'm on, that kind of thing. So
no. And I think in terms of sort of some of my skills, I hope I've kind of come on from where I started. I mean, looking back at a couple of the bits I did at the start of the cosplay journey to where I'm at now, I mean, I'd say I'd improved, or at least I hope I've improved. And looking at the plasma pistol I've recently done for my Imperial Guardsman compared to the one I built out of foam around an old Nerf gun in an afternoon. Yeah. I've got to say that the 3D printed one that I've bought and then painted, you couldn't see two more different. It's
completely
like on
opposite
Instagram.
Ends of the scale. Yeah. Really. Like when I built my that big bolter, when I look at the bolter I've got now and then look at a bolt pistol I make literally just the other day. Yeah. I look at them and I'm just like, it's a hell of a jump, especially with tools becoming a thing. Tools are always a thing.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the tools I have now, then I don't know if I would be as good. But I know a lot of people say oh, you've got a laser and stuff now, but I still have to build and put the thing together and actually shape and mold and do all that kind of stuff. But yeah. So what would your advice be to somebody starting off then? They're taking their first steps into cosplay and
advice for new people. Initially, start simple. It's kind of like the learning to walk before you can run thing, really. And I know I see a lot of people in cosplay groups going, oh, my first cosplay is a full-sized Reinhardt from Overwatch.
Yeah.
And you get sort of 2 months down the line, and people have given them all the advice, given them all the patterns, and they go, yeah, I'm scrapping it, and all I've built's a shin, because they've kind of come in at the sort of not above their skill level, but in an area that they haven't built to.
Above their confidence level, then, if you will.
Yeah. Be confident. Be the sort of person that can go, yes, I will build a full-scale Reinhardt. I will do it. But build to doing it. Still have that as the goal. Still have that as your big confidence thing.
But sort of take your path and work your way up to it.
Yeah. No one runs before they can walk.
Yeah.
So start simple, start easy, learn how to use the materials, learn how to use the tools, call on, obviously, more seasoned cosplayers for advice if you need it, and just sort of start small and then just build up. Because, like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I could use a load of other euphemisms and metaphors, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I kind of have had so many and some quite expensive fails by trying to do stuff 3 or 4 steps ahead of where I am. And it took a lot for me to realise that maybe I should start at the bottom and work my way up.
See, that's I'd say this is where pretty much I started with the whole, steampunk first, and that was just clothes that I had. Worked my way up, bought my entire Ghostbusters cosplay because I wasn't confident building anything myself. Yeah. Then started modifying that and playing with that, and then met David, and then just all of a sudden, boom! I'm now doing this, that, and the other, and I've got it's taken years. It's taken years.
I remember my sort of first. I'd say, don't know if I'd probably class it as cosplay. My sort of first kind of jump into it was for one Halloween about 5 years ago. I tried to make a scaled to me Space Marine cosplay.
Oh, what, you actually tried to do a human scale Space Marine?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Out of very cheap foam camping mats from Wilco's.
Nice.
And I had no patterns.
No patterns?
Yeah. No patterns. I just had a Space Marine mini for reference and my body measurements. And I tried, and looking back at it, I'm kind of glad the bookcase fell on it and broke it.
Oh, your bookcase fell on it and just...
Yeah, one of the shelves broke and the whole thing just took it out.
Oof, I don't know what I would do if that happened to mine. Luckily, I haven't got any bookcases around here, so I'm quite good.
Yeah, no. All I heard was a crashing noise coming from my room, walked in, and there, out of the middle of the chest of the Space Marine armour, was a hardback book, sort of buried about 3 inches deep into it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is... Ooh, I can't. I don't like thinking about it. It really gets...
No, it upset me at the time, but looking back... I think now if I was to do a version 2, knowing what I know and having done what I've done, it would be more successful
And having patterns.
Yeah, and having the patterns as well now. And having the patterns now rather than just trying to freehand the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Which actually I did with my original plasma pistol. And people will have seen pictures of that, and I think there are a few on my Facebook and Instagram. I think I memed a picture Dave took of me with it. It was like 1 on 2d6. That's how I roll.
Yeah, you got to make the memes. The memes are what make it. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we have 2 questions from the chat. One of which I actually have on my list to ask you next. So thank you for that. Thank you for that, Daniel. I will basically I'll be asking the same question now. Yeah. But we have a question from Quarion, which is question for Will. What is his favorite material to work with for cosplay. Now, I know this is quite an interesting one because you've done foam, you've also done modifications, and then you've also done 3D printing, and now you're doing wood. So it'd be an interesting answer.
The wood one is being made for me, so I know with the wood it's going to be a lot heavier than the foam is going to be, and it's
maybe just a smidgen,
just a touch, and it's also going to be heavier than 3D printed plastic as well. I've not sort of made anything 3D printed myself. I've sort of bought those and then
and then sort of have you bought them as a kit and put them together, or have you bought them all?
The plasma pistol I bought was already sort of pre-stuck together. I have got a stub pistol somewhere in amongst my stuff that needs putting together, but but whoever made it has printed the grip for it at about half the size it should be.
Oh no! So you've got like a gun like that and then the tiny grip.
Yeah, a tiny little grip. I might as well be holding like a cigarette lighter.
Oh wow, that's a small.
It's kind of how that is, because it should be, if I've got it here, the grip should be that size.
Yeah.
But it's about that long.
Oh, you can't hold that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
It's way too small.
If anything, where your ring finger and pinky finger is, where you get that sort of balance. This is where you grip. Yeah. That's the trigger, and then that's where you sort of. So without that, you're sort of all up here, and that's.
Yeah. So I mean, with this, obviously, that is scaled.
Yeah.
Bang on right for my sized hand, but yeah, with it being, it's like the noisy cricket from Men in Black.
Yeah,
the size of the grip from that. So I think favourite at the minute is probably still foam.
Still foam. Foam is your your
just
so
for,
if you were to jump on a project tomorrow, you'd make it from foam.
More than likely, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Mostly the question I have from Daniel as well, and the question that I have here on my list is the same question, which is: have you got any really funny stories, like funny cosplay stories? What's like the funniest story you've had in cosplay?
I think Frankie may actually have asked me this one a while back on my Instagram in my stories. And I think it had to be when I was cosplaying Barney at Birmingham Comic-Con last November. And I'm just walking around the convention hall, minding my own business. Sort of people are kind of going, "Oh, it's Barney from Half-Life." And then from around the side of a stall walks another guy dressed as another Black Mesa security guard, points at me, and this is from about 30 yards away, and just goes, "I fucking knew I wasn't the only one." Just comes bowling over.
And then are you both friends now? Are you friends? Have you been?
No. I did try and find, because I think he'd seen me on one of the cosplay groups, and then I've been trying to find him ever since, but I just haven't been able to.
We need to do a big Facebook search. We need to find out, like,
who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably throw the photo up again on a load of the cosplay groups, see if anyone knows him.
Be like, are you about? I want to be friends.
Yeah. Black Mesa needs more security guards. Barney's doing everything.
So, I'm not sure. I think we've brushed on this a little bit, but what got you into it? Like, I know you said you built a costume for Halloween, but did you see somebody dressed up and thought, I got to get into that. That is really cool. Or did you see something on TV, or was it online? What kind of got you? What kind of gave you the bug? I like to call it the cosplay bug.
A bug. It goes back to doing the acting stuff and the helping out on the film set for a bit, and I was just sort of helping out making stuff, and I was like, I'm quite enjoying this. I think I'll hit the internet, see what's out there, see who else does stuff like this, see if I can get kind of into this kind of thing more regularly. After an hour on Google, suddenly I'm finding myself all over Facebook groups, kind of just going, "Oh, you guys make costumes! This is amazing! Can I join in?"
And it's like, I'm new here, but I want to join in. Like, I have enthusiasm.
Yeah. I like what you do, and I've started doing it myself. Any advice?
Yeah.
And then people sort of, I sort of kind of got swept up into it that way, and yeah, the guys that we're speaking to on the websites, on the Facebook pages and on the groups and things were just like, yes, come and join us. Look, here's some things we did. The next thing I know, here I am, sort of 5-6 years later, with a room full of toy guns, foam swords, and and wardrobes full of armor.
See, I like that. And also, Ranger Krieg says, I like when Kriegs meet each other at conventions. We just go, Ree! Which is I'm excited to do as well when we do that. Krieg friends are the most special friends, and we dig holes and sit in them. It's good. It's good. Holes or trenches? A bit of both. I think trenches and holes. Why not? Just dig a straight cylindrical hole and just sit in it, or trenches, depending. So if you had to pick a cosplayer, like a person, doesn't have to be a celebrity. It can be a friend or anyone like that, anyone you admire online. Who is your favorite cosplayer? We all know mine, obviously. Everybody knows mine. I have two lists. I have like the celebrity ones that I look up to, and then I have my actual friends that I look up to, like.
That is a really hard question.
Isn't it just? Some people know off the bat. Some people know off the bat. Like me, if someone was like, "Who's your favorite cosplayer?" I'd be like, "Adam Savage." Boom. Like,
yeah.
If they were like out of your friends,
if they were like
out of your friends, like I don't just have one. I have a list, and it's just. And it
gets
longer every day.
Out of all the people I know, everyone I know that cosplays and I'm friends with, I don't think I could pick between them as to who's my favorite.
It's different, isn't it? Just the hardest thing. Like,
because everyone kind of just brings their own thing to the groups that we move in, and there isn't really a specific person out of my kind of like friend cosplays that I would sort of put above any of the others. And I think that kind of really shone through Warhammer Fest, because we had you and James from Weeto Builds and stuff in your full-sized, and Dave in Rogel Dawn, and we've got guys at the bottom like myself, Ben Taylor, Callum, all in our Imperial Guard cosplays that, and yeah, we all just kind of brought our own thing to it, and the guys from the 601st, and there's such a wide kind of degree of people and personalities and skills that we all kind of support each other, and if you asked me to pick one out of a lineup as to who was my favourite, I couldn't do it.
It's just impossible, isn't it? Like, the way I see it is like, now obviously I can't pick, but like way back when, obviously when I met David Roth for the first time, like that's all I spoke about for like a good 2-3 weeks after was just, did you see the size of the guy and his big foam with his Space Marine? And it was just, and luckily he was nice enough that it wasn't at that con, but it was the following con when I was a Ghostbuster at the latch table I was doing with the Commander Ghostbusters. He came up like with his helmet off, and I held his helmet, and he put on my Ecto goggles, and we got chatting, and I added him as a friend on Facebook, and then obviously friendship blossomed from there. Yeah. So it's just back then I would have said the person who started me all off doing this though is my friend Marcus Belden Smith, who's the founder of the Cogs, and that was the steampunk side of things. But it's you can't pick one. It is impossible. It is impossible to pick one.
I mean, I think I met Dave kind of through a Facebook group, and then I first met him at London Super Comic Con actually. And and obviously I wanted to get a picture with Dave, so there's me with the giant golden sword, basically just having like a duel with him.
Yeah.
And we just kind of posed for a quick photo, and I just look out of the corner of my eye, and a semicircle of about 50 people had formed around us taking pictures.
When you spot for David, when you go to a big con and you're his spot, I've spotted for him at a bunch of events. It's not crazy easy, but I always have to keep talking to him. He's the most important person, because if he's on stilts,
of course.
So if he goes. It's not only really embarrassing for him, but he could hurt himself, that kind of thing. So I look after him. Yeah. So we had a huge group of people around us, as you said, like 50 or 60 people around taking photos or whatever. And then I go to him with his helmet on. I go, "You all right?" And he goes, "No, let's move," because his legs would start hurting. Because you stand in those stilts constantly, like keeping your balance, doing all this.
Yeah.
If you stand still perfectly, like he wants to go for a stomp, so I'm like, okay. And I would literally just turn to the crowd and just with my booming voice and just shout to everyone, not in an aggressive way, but just like, "Thank you, everyone, blah, 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 but we got to get him moving. His legs are on the way. Let's go," like whatever. So we'd start walking around, and they would just follow us until we would walk around, and Tay would be like, "Okay, we can stop for more photos. My legs are okay." We'd stop, and then the same crowd of people would just come around, and those who didn't get photos would just get photos. People would come up, and man, it was such a good laugh. But I always kept an eye on Dave all the time, and it was so much fun. Like and I was happy to spot from. Genuinely, I really look at like looking after Dave because he's so much fun, especially Big Red. Yeah. Who doesn't love Big Red? And we've got a picture link in chat. There you go, photo link in chat. I'm loving that. So I know you said you've bought a lot of stuff. Like you bought your 3D printed gun. You've got a 3D printed. You got a laser cut wooden like sort of not lasgun. Sorry, is it lasgun? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, lasgun.
On the way and things like that. Yeah. But you've made the sword in the background. Then you've got your other sword as well.
Yeah.
So do you prefer to buy or make if you had to pick one? Like, if you had to stop tomorrow, one of those. If you had to stop building, but you could only buy, or if you could only buy and stop building, which one would you pick?
I think I'd go for the. I think I'd go for the stop buying and build myself.
Yeah. And
I know, sort of, for some of the more fiddly bits, especially with things like plasma pistols for 40k and stuff. 3D printing has sort of obviously helped a lot, especially with the more intricate stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't think I'd be able to, out of foam, unless I had a really steady hand, make a quillers like that.
Exactly. It's the whole reason. It's the whole reason I laser etch them now, because they're just impossible. Yeah. Like even Chaos Stars, like the one Chaos Star I made a long time ago is really rough, and the wrong way around, because I glued it on the wrong way around because silly. Yeah. But yeah, it's honestly I know what you mean, because intricate detail stuff is where it gets difficult. That's where 3D printing comes into its own, and laser cutting and stuff. It's where it gets into its own.
But no, I think I'd probably want to keep building and sort of make sure that I had the skills to build all sorts of stuff from all kinds of materials. But 3D printing sometimes helps.
Absolutely. I mean, I have 3D printed. I have 3D printed pieces on my guns and stuff. And James, obviously, Wito Builds, he made me a 3D printed plasma pistol. And I'm still working on that, because I'm still working on how to do the electronics. So, because again, I'm such a novice with 3D printed stuff. I don't know what I'm doing really. But when it comes to foam, I know the ins and outs of foam like crazy. But. If you had to say, like, obviously I said, the most expensive cosplay that you've done. What's the most expensive prop that you've either built or bought? What would you say is, like, you don't have, obviously I never tell people to say how much unless they actually want to, but which one is the most dear, the one that you've built or bought?
The one that probably has the highest price tag is going to be the Lancer.
Oh, the Lancer was the most, right?
Yes.
I was putting a bet between that, the sword, or the lasgun, the wooden one.
Well, after kind of like taxes and conversion rates, the wooden lasgun might be the slightly more expensive one.
Is that like one you made, or is that one you bought, or is that an actual collector's Lancer? Or?
That is from, I think, the Gears 323 special edition.
Oh, so it's the actual prop from the actual company.
It's the actual, from the.
And did you do it gold, or was it blood covered?
It was already. It already came in gold.
Oh, brilliant! Because I know the golden Lancer is one you can get in game. I know that much.
Yeah. That particular Lancer, I actually found in the window of a cash converters.
Oh, brilliant! Right, so you didn't actually get it like with the game; you got it just after.
No, I bought it. I bought it afterwards. I was just walking past cash converters in back home in Stoke, and it was just sat in the window. I was just like, and I walked past and I saw it, doubled back, stared at it a bit more, and then maybe went and bought it.
Maybe went and bought it. It's there.
maybe went and bought it a little bit.
Maybe. I think Ranger Creek Cosplay says I think it was Gears of War 3. I think it was Gears of War 3.
Yeah, I think it was 3. Yeah.
I know 2. I think it was the large metal cog tag was the limited edition, and then there was a collector's edition, which was the other one. Or I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I haven't played Gears in a long time. In terms of numbers, then, what sort of numbers are we talking of? How many conventions have you done?
I'd say. I think.
Could see the maths happening.
Yeah, I'd say about 8 or 9. So 8, 9, that kind of range.
Oh, so not that not that many then. I expected it to be in the double figures.
No, I think partly it was because my jobs up until my current one required me to work weekends.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So trying to book time off to go to cons and whatnot, it did get a bit tricky. So I've been to relatively few cons just because of that. But now with the current job I've got, my weekends are now free, and it was just like, yes, 2020, I can get to go to a lot more cons.
Ouch!
Oh no!
Yeah, no, I
things started lining up, and
it is painful, isn't it? Like, I mean, me and Harry had 25, 26 more conventions planned for this year. That was like, most of those were like the ones that I was asked to go to in terms of guesting and stuff, and others were ones I just wanted to attend. It's just heartbreaking because like that was where most of the year was going to be for me in terms of like fun. Like I come home, I was going to work during the week, and then I was going to be off on weekends and having fun, and then work during the week, and then and I'd be happy with that because it's nice to spend the week building and prop making and doing commissions and stuff, and then go to conventions and sort of let your hair down on the weekends. But obviously now with lockdown and stuff happening, Ranger Creek said, I was looking forward to this year. Yeah, this year was going to be our year. Like, I'm not saying like the previous years haven't been very good, like to me, but in terms of total number of conventions done in a year, last year was my busiest, and Harry was with me for all but 2 of those events, and this year I think he was going to be with me for all of them, including Sci-Fi Weekender, which was the one we were looking forward to because I've been telling Harry about Sci-Fi Weekender a lot. Sci-Fi Weekender is amazing. So, most uncomfortable cosplay. I know you don't have many in terms of like the big bulky ones, but if you had to pick one that's the most sort of chafy, sort of like at the end of the day when you take it off, it's like when women take a bra off at the end of the day. It's like, good God, that was a good feeling.
Imperial Guardsman.
Oh, it is your guard, is it? Any particular thing on the guard that's like the worst thing to do or wear?
The minute that armor comes off, because I've got a backpack on it, because I've built a pack into it to sort of carry bits and pieces. If I've got sort of bottle or 2 of water in there, some food, maybe odd bits of merch perhaps that I've bobbed in there that I've bought, it starts to weigh on the shoulders and it starts to pull them down a little bit. And it's when you undo the clips on the side and the armor just loosens itself off and you lift it up and your shoulders just go, thank you for that.
As soon as the chest of the Iron Warrior comes off, it used to be the feet, now it's the chest. And the feet used to be so bad, like my feet used to hurt so much because I didn't have like padding or insoles in them, that the chest was nothing. Now that the feet are comfortable and I can walk around for hours and hours, it's the chest. It's crazy.
The chest starts to,
obviously other than Warhammer Fest when my hand turned blue and I lost feeling in these 3 fingers because of my Power Fist. But
Power Fist,
now the Power Fist is the comfiest thing to wear because the chest holds all the weight of it. So, it's the way it is. Now, obviously, I've asked you, in terms of building, do you prefer to work solo or with others? But in terms of cosplaying, when you do the actual costume and play, do you prefer to do it solo or with others?
Sort of a mix of the two, because other than, let's say, the Imperial Guardsmen, for things like Warhammer Fest and whatnot, it'd be a bit weird just to have a lone Imperial Guardsman walking around like MCM or something. It just, it just looks a little out of place.
Like, guys.
It'd look a little out of place. But on the whole, in terms of me cosplaying, and it's probably sort of obvious through my sort of social media and stuff, I actually prefer to cosplay kind of like solo characters and things, and slightly more esoteric ones that a lot of people might not.
The more niche ones, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Gordon Freeman in the pipeline, the HEV suit.
Cool. Is that going to be all foam? Is that going to be all foam again, or is that going to be partly 3D printed?
Yeah, that's going to be all foam. Mostly because somebody once said, and I will demonstrate, with the goatee, if I stick the glasses on, I've got a bit of a Gordon Freeman kind of vibe going on.
You need to be completely mute the entire convention then.
Yes, don't talk to anyone.
That's gonna be interesting, because can you imagine, like, excuse me, do you know the toilets on? You just stare at them. But someone comes like, can we have a photo with you? Just stare.
Yeah.
Just no facial expressions at all. Just hold up your crowbar and just be like, just stone face, like. Oh yeah, there you go. Hello, Gordon. If somebody when somebody hosts me like Lynette Cosplay and Artemis Blackfire have, my stream goes, "Hello, Gordon," and it's all the science team screaming and yelling. I love it. So this is an interesting one. This is a new question I've got. This is a new question. I've actually gone from one sheet to two. This one only has one question on it. And it's only for my Warhammer cosplayers, this one. There are going to be more specific ones to specific cosplayers. But this one is going to be, is Warhammer something that's had a huge impact on your life at all?
I'd say it's certainly from kind of a young age when my older brother started playing it. I think was it second ed fantasy?
Wow.
For his birthday?
Wow.
Years and years ago, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he got second edition fantasy years and years back when he was about 10 or 11.
That's insane.
And I just kind of...
edition.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I started... and that kind of started my journey through it. And, I mean, I used to get the Choose Your Own Adventure books out of the library. Remember what libraries were, kids?
Do you remember those buildings you went into and they smelt really nice and they were dead quiet, and you walked in, you had a little special card, and that little card would unlock all kinds of possibilities?
Yeah, so before Steve and Ian created Games Workshop, they were doing the Choose Your Own Adventure fighting fantasy books. And it sort of started from there, and it's kind of always kind of permeated through my love of fantasy, sci-fi, and... It's
always sort of been a part of your life without you knowing it, really?
Yeah, and we, obviously, growing up, played it with my older brother and stuff. I mean, I'm sort of currently sat here, and behind my laptop, I've got a whole mix of minis that are in various states of being painted. Right from some of the first ones I ever did through to my more recent ones. One of my favourites being Doom Guy that I got from a third party. From a third party website. I do love Doom Guy.
Doom Guy is awesome. Doom Guy is awesome. What army do you play then in 40k?
Well, I haven't played 40k since about 6th edition.
Oh, so quite recently. Not that. I mean, we're up to 9th now, but 6 isn't that far. I mean, I remember 6.
I think 6 was probably my last sort of foray into it. But I sort of fell out of playing it for a while because moving away for jobs and other things and stuff going on. Life kind of took over a bit. But no, Imperial Guard.
Imperial Guard, yeah.
Imperial Guard.
Yeah, boys. Yeah.
My first sort of... The first sort of army I played in and I might shock people here, second edition.
Oh.
Bought second hand off a friend a sort of small Eldar army.
Ooh, space elves.
Played Eldar. Played Eldar for the sort of second ed, and then started branching out. Got more into the Imperial Guardsmen and stuff, and that's kind of where I've been. Because the Imperial Guard are awesome.
They pretty much are. They are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Without them, we wouldn't have any cannon fodder. So you know.
Well, no, you wouldn't have. You wouldn't have sort of like 8 feet high mounds of corpses to catch the bullets.
Exactly, you know, and you know, as a Chaos Space Marine, you know, those mounds are fun to climb. They're fun to climb.
Yeah, of course.
Get a good advantage point, you know. Space elves for the win from Quarion. So, do you have any current cosplays that you haven't announced yet that you're working on that you'd want to say anything about, or are you just sort of everything on the back burner waiting for COVID to finish?
Everything's kind of on the back burner waiting for cons to sort of come along. I'm in the middle of upgrading my Imperial Guardsmen for a variety of reasons. Mostly because looking at the plasma pistol I looked at one day and was just like, I need something a bit more exciting, which is why I went on the hunt for a 3D printed one. And found sort of that as a blank on eBay. Just sort of painted it up initially to go with a Necromunda Bounty Hunter that I was doing. So hazard striping all over the bit that's green.
Hazard stripes for the win.
Yeah, but then I looked at it and was just like, actually, it'd do much better for my Imperial Guard Sergeant.
I got you.
So
you got an Imperial Guard Sergeant. Do you have any other Imperial Guard characters? Like you got your Sergeant. Do you have like a?
I've not at the minute. I did do a Catachan.
You did. You did do a
Catachan Sergeant with the body armor, and on one Warhammer group posted a picture of it, and a sort of flame war started between people going, oh, but Catachans don't wear armor. And then people were just posting pictures of the minis from the command squad
wearing armor,
wearing the chest.
It's always the case whenever you post a cosplay. Like whenever I post mine, it's normally either the red power fist is wrong or just something. But you know, it's the way it goes in the cosplay community. There's always going to be that sort of thing. But luckily, it's never too negative nowadays. But I've seen some pretty cool stuff. I have got one last question for you, Ginger Nutz Cosplay. Will, where can we find you?
Outside your window.
That's one I haven't had before. I haven't had that one, but yeah.
Facebook, Instagram. I do have a sort of YouTube account, but I very rarely use that. I think I've got one video on there at the minute. Really should use it more. But yeah, Instagram is my primary focus at the minute because that gets a much bigger reach than Facebook does.
Instagram and Facebook, we would actually, Lady Venom and I were talking about it on our stream on Tuesday. It's we were talking about how Instagram's sort of there now and Facebook is sort of. But I still try to post on everything. I'm also going to try to post on Twitter a bit more. But for those who want to see the links, Will's links are in the chat, by the way, for anyone who wants to see those. But yeah, sorry, you were saying?
Yeah. I don't have Twitter, and to be honest, if I did, I don't think I'd use it much. It's just not a platform that's appealed to me, really.
I sort of started one for the professor a while ago, and then I made one for myself, which I then turned to my cosplay one, and that's about it. But there you go. Ranger of Krieg has found your YouTube link and has put it in the chat as well if you guys want to go and subscribe to Will. He might use it at some point, and you might see there's some surprising videos on there. You never know.
Yeah.
YouTube just in case. I like that. We also have, for anyone in chat who has joined us and hasn't joined our Discord yet, there is a Discord. My admins know !Discord in chat. And that will bring up the Discord link if anyone wants to join. If you haven't joined yet, Will, feel free to join. It's a fun little Discord.
I have actually. I am in there.
Awesome.
A lot of the chat happens when I'm working, so
that's the thing. Yeah. It's sort of. So, what sort of job do you do normally? I've never actually asked you what job you do.
I currently work for a high street retailer in one of their warehouses. And my current role at the warehouse is social distance champion. So I have to go around. I have to go around the warehouse, make sure everyone has a mask, everyone has access to gloves, sanitizing wipes, hand sanitizer.
I will admit that during this time now, that is probably one of the most important jobs.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't take doing that as something not very important. That is, I'd say something incredibly important. Because not only that, you're protecting people from each other, if anything.
Yes. Yeah. And no, on the whole, it's a pretty good role. It's kind of directly linked to the health and safety guys at work, and I'm basically their eyes and ears on my shift.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that we're meeting risk assessments and all the government guidelines.
You got to do all that.
Yeah, all the COVID stuff.
But genuinely, wow! I would like to say that was a really fun stream. Thank you so much for coming on. I know you had to book a night off work to do it, and that genuinely means a lot because I know during these sort of times right now, money is always a thing, and people need to make sure they do it. But luckily, you had holidays, so that's always good.
Yes.
Lucky that's always
yeah. Well,
good.
I've got near enough 2 weeks worth of holidays built up since around
April,
May time. So
you can start using them. You can start using them.
Yes.
Start getting
I'm gonna
done. Start getting things upgraded. Get your foam out. Get your knife out. And start going for it.
Well, some of them were being earmarked for my wedding at the end of the month. That now isn't happening.
Hopefully next year it'll happen.
Next March we've got it. Sort of back end of next March we've got it booked in.
There
so
you go. Hopefully by next March this will have been cleared and everything will be back to normal, as normal as it can get. Obviously nothing's going to go back to normal, but fingers crossed it's going to be at least moderately okay to sort of get back in the game.
Oh, 100%.
But genuinely, thank you again to everyone who has come along, and I want to give a huge thanks to Will, Ginger Nutz Cosplay. For you guys who want to see his links, they're in the chat there, Instagram and Facebook, and along with his YouTube link. But thank you again, Will. Really appreciate this. And
no worries, mate.
I genuinely hope everyone enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed yourself as well.
Oh, I did. I did enjoy myself. Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. No problem at all. Thank you, everyone, and we shall see you all again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.